Kempire is brought to you by. Do you know how important it is to rate and review a podcast? Rate and review the Kempire podcast today. 5 stars. Let us know what you love about the podcast. Rate and review the Kempire podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Did you know that you can watch the Kempire channel on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter? Follow us on all of our platforms. More information on our YouTube, our Blue Sky, our Twitter, aka X, and more socials, and every way that you can support us will be available in the episode notes. You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. Happy Sunday, everyone. Shout out to everyone already in the live chat. Happy Black History Month. We only have 4 more days left to Black History Month. But as you know, here on the channel, we are celebrating not just Black History Month, but Black content creators. But shout out to all the Black content creators that came out to the Kempire After Dark live experience this past Friday. Shout out to all of you that came out on that cold night in New York City to meet and greet with me for our special live show. And shout out to the hundreds and hundreds of you that watched on the live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll talk more about that later. But first, I decided that I wanted to do something a little different here on the channel because so many of you ask about my travels and the travel experience, tips and tricks and things like that. So I decided to bring someone that has the same sort of passion for traveling like I do. Not only is he a fellow YouTuber, but he's also an author. He was a DJ, and he is a travel enthusiast. Please welcome back to the channel our friend and the only cancer man that I probably like, DJ Richie Skye. Yes, come on. Wasn't ready for that part.
Actually, I should have been ready because I came to your show in DC and I heard, okay? I should have known better. But when I was listening to your intro, I felt like I was like about to come out on the Sherry Shepherd show. Like,
yes.
I love it. I absolutely loved it.
First of all, DJ Richie Skye, we were just going to call you Richie.
Yes, please.
Okay. First of all, welcome back to the show. How have you been? We saw that you posted that you had lost your father not too long ago. How have you been?
It has been a journey, man. First of all, I wasn't ready. This wasn't anything that we saw coming. You know, we found out that my dad had lung cancer. I was in Mexico on a trip during the election because I just wanted to get away. And I had to cut my trip short because my mom called and said my dad was in the hospital. And we thought that the prognosis was good. I mean, he was supposed to be going to do his radiation, chemo, but somehow, some way, his lung collapsed during the process of him being on oxygen at home and waiting for his PET scan results. And it was just, it's something that shakes you and you kind of just, for the past 2 months, I had been in a really dark place, but still trying to work because it was the only thing that was making me feel normal. Well, I started going live a lot more, mostly because it was giving me interaction with, how that feels, that interaction with the community, because it's a bit different when you can have it immediate, right? Versus doing a pre-recorded video.
Yeah.
So that has been helpful to me. Going home to visit my mom, as I've told you before, on the weekends has been something that's also been helpful. To see her be independent was something that I've also needed to see because kind of think this is somebody who has been with my dad for 50 years. So now it's like, how is she going to manage all of this by herself? So I've just kind of been there, probably more for me than her, because I feel like she's like, go live your life. But I'm like, girl, I need to make sure you're all right, Yeah. So it's been a journey. It has been a journey. But I want to say thank you for also being there through a lot of that and just the messages and just checking in and, like you and Brooke and Taria, and Q, just a lot of people have just been there behind the scenes, just checking in. And I really appreciate it.
Of course. Look, I don't know what it is to lose a parent, but I do know what it is to lose a family member. And I know that it's a journey. And I know that there will be times that you're fine. And then there'll be times, I'm telling you, a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, where something happens, you're like, ooh. So, but I appreciate you being so open and sharing that both with the world, us as other, friends of yours. But you posted a video a few weeks ago talking about the business of losing someone. And how no one talks about that. And I was like, this is something that we have to talk about because I think it's important, especially when we have the platforms that we have. So can you just reiterate some of what you said in that video?
Yeah, for me, initially, I didn't want to. I knew that I should do it, but I almost didn't want to do it because I felt like it was so transparent.
Mm,
But because it also lent itself to my feeling guilty about maybe not being there enough for my dad or not
mm,
knowing enough.
yeah,
I always go back to wondering, did I make the right decisions during those last days? So that weighed heavily on me.
yeah,
I almost kind of felt like I'm posting this on social media. Social media, in my mind, I equate to fun and what I have going in my life, projects that we're working on and stuff like that. It
mm,
was hard to reconcile me having that moment on a social media platform.
yeah,
It's for the world to see. But then I thought about it. I was like, somebody else has to feel like this because when someone passes, there is the immediate, like it is literally immediate that actions have to happen.
yeah,
Business has to be done.
yeah,
Decisions have to be made. There is no break. And then even when you do have a moment of downtime, you have family who is coming to see you. You have family friends everyone wants to be there for you. But that first 4 or 5 days, it's filled with kind of being there for everybody else.
yeah.
And I hate to sound selfish, and I know it's going to come across that way, and I don't want to sound.
No, just say it. Don't, no disclaimer. Just say it.
It does feel overwhelming because you don't have that moment, and I understand for everyone else they just want to be there,
Mm,
but in that moment it's kind of like I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Like, and you're here, and I'm glad you're here, but I'm kind of like I haven't processed any of this happening yet. And
mhm,
it's just what people do. They
yeah,
want to show their support, but at the same time, it's hard
yeah,
because then once you get through the funeral, you've got to make sure that the insurance company and the funeral home, like they remain separate because they don't need to know how much is available because you don't know what they're going to be trying to do. So then I
mm,
develop a little team of people to help me manage this process because it's overwhelming. And even to this day, 2 months later, it is still a lot of paperwork that's being done, being filled out, and nobody really talks about there is a big business to death.
yeah,
And you don't know what to do. No, none of these businesses have any incentive to tell you. So
mm,
if there's money out there, if your parents have accounts, just understand where those accounts are, what they mean. If you need to be added to those accounts, because
mm,
otherwise your parents could have $1 million in the bank, but if your name's not on that account, you can't touch it.
yeah. There,
So
there's just so much.
yeah.
There's so much, and we briefly discussed it when it relates to reality television. Just certain things that we as people, as Black people, don't discuss. What we should do when it comes to life insurance, trusts,
Hmm.
property, death. So I thought the video that you did was so important, and we appreciate you in the middle of grief sharing that and being vulnerable with that. And I'm sure you got a lot of comments saying like, "Yeah, speak on it because it's important and it's necessary." So I appreciate you doing that, and I appreciate you sharing that here this morning. Guys, for those of you in the live chat, our special guest, DJ Richie Skye, is here again. And look, we're going to get to the travel of it all, but we're giving you guys a moment. Some of you are in church, some of you are listening in church. I'm not judging. It happens, Richie. I'm not even just saying that. It happens. Shout out to those of you listening in church. We're not judging though. We're not. We appreciate it. Okay, we definitely appreciate it. Um, But before we get to the travel of it all, because you and I, that's one of the things that we share. We love to travel. And so many of our followers want us, first of all, to talk about it. They want to see it. You've been really good about now sharing it and doing it with your community. I'm not there yet. Just because when I travel, for me, it's really like my escape
Yeah.
from the world and everything. But yeah, anyways, before we get into that, because people, anytime you're here, they're going to want to, like, you guys got to talk about what's going on in the reality TV space. And I know you've been busy doing a lot of other things. The last time you were here, you were promoting your book. Are we working on another one?
Yes, I am working on the third book in the series. It is, I think, going to be the final before I venture off into trying to write something else, because I kind of feel like I know the end of the story. I've always known the end of it. So it's just literally just finishing this. I would say that it will be out maybe October, November of this year. So I've got the cover. I mean, everything is done in terms of what it is. I just need to finish the writing.
Okay. But the first 2 parts are out, so people can go and get that right now.
Yes. They are on Amazon, and I know people feel some type of way about Amazon right now. But we are working to get them into smaller bookstores as well as like Barnes & Noble, that sort of thing. And I'm thinking that the next books that I write, I will just sell them on my website. Like, I just feel like direct to consumer can be a great way to go.
Yeah, without a doubt. But like, if you want to, guys, and you have, if you're gonna buy anything from these platforms, let it be Black. Okay, just let it be Black.
We're still there.
Yeah. The same with Target, but we get it. I mean, for Black History Month, I said I'm not supporting any of them, but but there's a lot of companies out there that's just like, you don't even realize that you shouldn't be supporting. But that's a whole other conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of support, Real Housewives of Atlanta has been on life support the last couple of years. But the new, like, I had to think of a segue. That's what came to mind. Real Housewives of Atlanta is set to come back in, 2 weeks? I think it's like 2 weeks. So what was your reaction to the promo photos, to the trailer?
Oh. You know, I am because I'm a reality TV fan, right? So I was just simply excited to see what they were going to be presenting. And I kind of felt like it was going to be a lot of nothing, but I felt like what they wanted to communicate was a feeling more so than story, right? Because I felt like they wanted us to feel some level of luxury, some level of like, we're back to having fun. That's what I felt like they were trying to convey with that trailer. And then they came out with another smaller trailer that was a little bit more cutting and a little bit more dramatic. But I felt like they really didn't want to give anything away. Their mission was fun, fabulosity, and yes, Kenya is here.
Oh, yes. Still here. No promo photo, but still here.
Still here.
And of course, people were wondering whether or not they were going to address what happened during the season. What did you think of the promo photos? Because a lot of people have said that it's giving Love and Hip Hop.
It kind of is getting, you know what? I hadn't thought of that before, but it kind of is now that I really look at it.
I mean, Love and Hip Hop is one of the shows that you talked about as well. But when you look at the colors, it's like, it is giving kind of Love and Hip Hop. It's almost as if they're leaning into what the fans have been saying during these last few weeks of seeing people that have been cast and part of filming.
Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I mean, Love and Hip Hop is still on.
Love and Hip Hop is still on and going strong.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I've noticed is Love and Hip Hop, they don't do reunions anymore.
Oh.
They just keep right on filming.
Why is that, though?
I have no idea. I don't know if it's just cheaper. I don't know what the situation is, but they don't do reunions anymore. I wonder if Bravo will ever get to that point.
Oh, Andy, no. His ego won't let him get to that point. He likes these moments that he's able to, But I think, no, not even just that. I think Andy also loves the fact that you can find resolution during a reunion. And he feels like during the season, you can't. I mean, that's the goal.
That's the goal. But I'm like, do they find resolution?
No.
Or does the reunion ignite something that wasn't there in the season? In which case, then I feel like the reunion is worthwhile, right? For instance, while Potomac to me had a string, it was a season,
Oh,
I felt like the reunion feels like a starting point for now. I'm really excited about where we're going.
Okay, well, tell me a little bit more about the that you felt during the season of the start of Real Housewives of Potomac season.
It was fine.
Okay.
It was fine, but I'm looking for more than fine now.
Yeah.
I want to feel like I'm either having fun, I'm on some kind of crazy wild ride like Salt Lake City, or I'm intrigued because you are peeling back the layers of some dramatic story in a slow burn that is typically Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, right? So I feel like Potomac, it lost some type of magic for me, but it regained it at the end.
Okay, so take me from what do you think was missing during the season, and then what we're getting now in the reunion, and maybe there's someone or something that's doing that for you.
I hate to say, but I felt like the editing was different this season. I feel like
Mm,
they did away with a lot of the editing tricks and fun little things that they used to do in previous seasons.
yeah.
We obviously lost the comedy that is Candace. Whether people like Candace or not, there's a certain level of comedy and sharp wit that she provided that we
Mm,
just didn't get. She has a way of narrating a story that nobody else can really do it in that way.
yeah.
And so I think you lost some of those quirky, fun elements that made Potomac what it had become.
Mm,
But I think that they almost overcorrected, from the last season, which felt kind of dark to me.
yeah.
And they wanted this to be a lighter and brighter thing, and it was. And so, therein lies to me the problem. It was just fine.
Yeah. I think the key word that you said is overcorrected. And to me, that gives very much the Bravo executives heard what the fans were saying. And they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to, again, overcorrect instead of finding a balance
Hmm.
in regards to what was going on in Potomac. How did you feel about the newbies, Jazzy, Kiarna, and Stacey Rush?
Oh God. Ooh. Okay. So,
Oh,
this is good. This is good. So Kiarna, I was initially super excited about, right?
yes.
And then as I watched the season, I was like, girl, what what happened? Like, did we edit her down? Like, was because some of this could be that she
Yeah.
was maybe edited down, and she didn't really seem like she had a voice or a sticking point until near the end. And I think I began to appreciate her a bit more. Stacey from the start, I felt like, oh my gosh, she is so fresh. She has this sort of naivete about her that I
Mm.
feel like is refreshing. But then now I'm questioning, is it naivete?
Mm.
Uh,
Because I don't know if you heard the rumors of what goes down at this reunion.
I, I need the rumors.
Oh,
I
well.
need the rumors.
Well, the tea that was spilled to me exclusively
Okay.
was,
'Cause I
was the fact that what Eddie finds out from TJ is that Stacey hired him and that she had not paid him in the last couple of months. Might be the reason why Stacey recently unfollowed me. It's okay, Stacey. It's all right. I still love you. Not really. I don't know you. Anyways, so back to this. So the tea is that yes, Eddie Asefo ended up getting FaceTiming TJ, and that's what TJ allegedly spills at the reunion. But you've been watching these reunions. It feels like in part one and this tonight's episode, part two, it feels like the Stacey that we thought we loved and thought we knew isn't exactly who she is.
And you know what's funny? Because I have worked in news, this does not surprise me.
Oh, explain.
Okay, so I know a lot of people who work in news who have a very news anchor presentation style. To me, that is Stacey to a T.
Yep.
It is not. It's not pageant. It think QVC almost.
Mm,
Think reporter voice. Oh my God, there's somebody here who used to be on Fox who does the reporter voice so well. And I don't know why her name is escaping me at the moment, but I'd like to
you know
know.
what I'm talking about.
But she does the news anchor voice so well, right? And so that is what Stacey gives me when she is on screen. It's kind of like, just like these. I mean, I don't know. It's so like pulled up and put together
Yeah.
that it almost feels like, girl, you're presenting. I know this. I see this. I worked with this.
Mm,
So I know that there's another side of you because that's not real.
yeah. Yeah.
It's what you do for the job. And I think she took the QVC element of her job, and she brought it to Real Housewives of Potomac because that is what she knows.
And literally brought her coworker, TJ.
You got to at least find a trustworthy coworker to work with. Like
Yeah.
the coworker got to be ride or die. But I guess if the plan is payment, you also got to pay.
And I wonder how that's the one thing I didn't get. I should find out that. How much did she actually pay him to do this? Because he wasn't her. Go ahead. Say it again.
How much is owed?
What apparently the word on the street was that either she missed 2 months payment or two payments. Not sure what that is. I think he needs to send her to collections. But anyways, come on. First of all, she should. A lot of people are saying that she should get her money back because he didn't do her any justice this season. We didn't feel any sexual chemistry. He was very weird and harsh and almost abusive to her on camera. I didn't love that for her.
I didn't either. Like, that's definitely get my money back because I feel like sell it to me. I kept saying that during the season. Sell it to me. I want to be sold to. I do. If I'm going to invest my time watching these shows and recapping them, you better sell that thing to me like your life depends on it. And if you can't do that, isn't he an actor on Days of Our Lives or some soap opera or something like that? How are they getting?
You're being very generous right now. He is an extra, okay? Actor. Shout out to all the extras, though. Shout out to all the extras, but
oh my God. I too have done some extra work and have never been paid for it.
What?
I'm mad about that thing. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Was it worth it, though?
Okay, so it was on I won't even say oh my God, I want to say it so bad. I will not say that. It's a 3-movie thing that I think it might be on BET still. And
he didn't pay you? Sorry.
They didn't pay. I mean, it wasn't BET. I think it was the production company, but this is when I lived in LA. I don't think we were there for like 12, 13 hours in a club scene.
You were there for 12, 13 hours and you didn't even get
the overtime.
Did you get craft services?
They barely fed us.
They barely fed you?
Yes.
Can you say the movie, please?
Well, I'll tell you later.
Oh, okay. Damn, that is grimy.
It is, but you know what? It's not an uncommon story.
Yeah. Ugh.
Unfortunately.
That's terrible. That is terrible. Okay. This live is not about that. Guys, if you're just joining us, we have our special guest, DJ Richie Skye, here to talk about traveling while Black. But I wanted to pick his brain just a little bit more when it comes to the Real Housewives of Potomac, because we did not talk about our girl, Jazzy. How did you feel about... First of all, before we get to Jazzy, despite all the lying from Stacey, do you want to see her come back next season?
I do, actually. I want to know who the real Stacey is. And I do feel like with a lot of these shows, they don't give people a chance to thrive. Mm-hmm. And granted, Stacey has seemingly made a mess for herself. I mean, she came really harshly against Mia, but girl, if you're doing the same thing, then you've got a lot to answer for as well. So I don't know. I want to see her come back because I want to see who she really is.
But are Stacey's lies versus Mia's lies, I don't think they're the same. I feel like Mia's lies are dangerous in regards to someone's mental health, in regards to her children. We're just talking about lying about my boyfriend or my girlfriend. Ooh. And like, I think the lying, I'm not condoning lying because I'm not never put my back on scales. Yeah. But if we had to scale the lies, Mia's lies, allegedly the other T is that Mia ends up leaving the reunion early. That's the word on the street. She ends up leaving the reunion early.
My thing is, if you already there, stay and get your check.
Right? I mean, probably still got her check. She was in the shame spiral, according to Andy.
But still, stay and get your check. Girl, you leave, you might forfeit that check. So at least get your money's worth. Let them berate you. Go ahead. I mean, what happened?
She seems like broken down from part 1. So I don't know if that's an act or if she really is feeling the weight of what people have been saying on social media. Like, what do you think?
I think that, and this is me just watching her on the show, I think it feels like exactly what Wendy said. There is a difference between you feeling remorse for the act of ditching your friends that have come to see you in Miami, and then you being called out about it. And now you're embarrassed. I feel like it's more of the tears are more, I have been called out about these things and now I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
That is, I think, where she is. Do I think that she's had maybe she's had a hard time dealing with life? Yes. But it's also one of those situations where just because you have been cut doesn't mean that you need to bleed all over everyone else.
That's a word on this Sunday for the people in church listening. Now you can say amen, people in church. Amen. The pastor's still talking about something else. Amen. The person next to you like, she feeling the spirit over there. Shout out to the people in church. Shout out to people leaving church.
Amen.
Okay. I promise you guys, we will get to the travel conversation. We're giving people an opportunity to get into the room and leave church. Okay. Jazzy, do you want to see Jazzy come back? She brought her whole wedding invitation.
You know what? Bravo loves a wedding. So I say yes. I think that I need for Jazzy to, again, she felt like someone else who gives pageant answers. And I don't know if that's her background, but I felt like she was a bit more real and loose when it was time to confront Mia about Miami.
Not loose.
Like that. I'm like, now you're kind of like, okay, you done uncinched that belt buckle a little bit, and now you're ready to play. Yeah. If you can give me events, if you can give me fabulosity, if you can give me your real life, whether it is messy or not, I feel like let's go.
I just feel like she didn't answer. You had this entire season to prepare your answer for the reunion when it comes to your fiance and the baby's mother. And I still felt like her answer was not what needed to be said to kind of finalize it all. Just say, we had our challenges. I'm sticking beside him. Period.
I would have preferred that.
Yeah.
I would have preferred an honest answer, but I don't think she ain't there yet. She ain't in the reality space of not giving an F, so to speak, and just truly just living in the moment. Because for me, you gotta have that. You honestly have to do, like, you have to say to yourself, there has to be a moment where you come to yourself and say, I'm in this thing now. Yeah. And I'm gonna give them the real, the raw, the messy, and I'm just gonna work my way through it. And if this is the reality of it and you're happy, that's it. Own it, but don't talk around it because that's confusing.
The same for both Stacey and Jazzy, and apparently they have a good friendship. So I can definitely see both of them returning. And quiet as it's kept, Jazzy brought more this season than Kiarna.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what I was supposed to be left with Kiarna, other than a relationship where her fiance. No, I don't know if we were talking. He's at the reunion though. I don't know about whether or not her person actually wants to be there. To me, that's like a red flag for production. Like, girl, like, you might just need to be a friend.
Yeah. And originally, that was the word on the street, is that Kiarna was supposed to be a friend, and they last minute made her a full-time housewife. Not sure why.
I'm not either.
Yeah. Maybe they just needed story to fill. Maybe. Who knows?
Or maybe she's more vocal. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. Before we move on to travel, I promise we're getting to travel. Mm-hmm. Married to Medicine, your reaction to this new season. It's getting hot tonight.
Oh, God. You know, there's a clip in this trailer for like the episode where Phaedra says that, you know, new people don't survive in this group. And that's how I feel about this season. I feel like it's a prime example of new people not surviving in this group.
Yeah.
And it feels to me like there was a heavy emphasis on bringing Sweet Tea and Dr. G back into the group, only for them to like literally ridicule them and break them down. Okay.
Yeah.
Mind you, they were in the process of breaking them down while they broke Quad down, sent her packing. Like, okay, if you, to me, the best fix for this cast is either there's the only fix.
Oh.
Every new person that you ice out, an OG has to go with them. Ooh! If a new person gets iced out, an OG's got to go. I think the dynamic would change.
And I definitely think there needs to be some sort of shakeup for Married to Medicine in the next season. Phaedra's not coming back, which I'm fine with. I already felt like Phaedra coming on was ridiculous. But there definitely needs to be a shift. Nobody wants to see Quad versus Dr. Gregory for another season. How do you feel about Sweet Tea?
I actually find her refreshing because I don't think that she is coming to film with an agenda, right? I feel like she's coming into this trying to film what is actually happening. Yeah. And she's reacting naturally, whether or not she makes those mistakes. That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
Right? For me anyway. And I felt like the group would have done better to try to rally the Dr. G and Quad and get them to a space where they could coexist. If that was going to be the thing, and conflict would have come out of that naturally, right?
Yeah.
Because they still have not worked through that toxicity. I don't care what anybody says, they're still very, very toxic.
Yeah.
So and if they try to at least see if they can make it work, but instead it just feels like the cast is just like pouring fuel on the fire, and they're just like gleefully doing so to the detriment of then King and Sweet Tea.
Yeah. Well, first of all, so you don't think that Dr. Heavenly bringing Apollo and Phaedra together at this wasn't her way of trying to teach Quad and Dr. Gregory on how to co-parent Sweet Tea? I don't know what I don't know. I didn't understand.
On the surface, I said, yeah, okay, that could work because they seem like they. But then I thought about it, and I was like, that's a whole different situation. Ain't no kids involved in Quad and G's relationship. Like, I mean, what we talking about? Phaedra don't want to be around this man. She definitely didn't want to be around Shireen. So why would you even think that this was going to be a good idea? And then to me, I felt like Phaedra got the short end of that stick because I felt like for real, who cares who she dating at this point?
Yeah.
Didn't he run off with Shireen? Like while she was pregnant? Like, I don't know. So I'm kind of like, girl, get your money, get your man, get your money, do what you gotta do.
Before we move on, the other news that came out this week, that I'm sure everyone in the live chat, shout out to everyone in the live chat, guys. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's easy and it's free. And be sure to check out everything DJ Richie Skye in the description. But you saw the breaking news. Literally, I was about to go on stage here in New York City when the breaking news that Simon Guobadia was arrested and detained by ICE. People believe that Portia Williams called ICE on him. Mind you, this man has been fraudulent and scamming since the 80s and deported before. So what is your reaction to all of this news?
I just find it wild to me that he has been like posting so like, it's almost like he was trying to manifest a win. While I do believe in the powers of manifestation, I also believe in taking a very real look at your situation. And so it's very odd to me that given all of his past instances where they've said, you've been here too long, and now with this administration, you're still pressing your luck. I just find it wild. Like, it's like, bro, like, you have got the confidence of, I don't know where does that, I want to have that confidence. I want to be so delusional in my confidence that I will think that I can just stay in a country that I am not a citizen of. No matter what they do, what they say, I will go nowhere. That is some high level confidence right there.
Not free Simon. No, keep him locked. No, it must be a Gemini man thing because, the orange man in the suit is also a Gemini. So I'm like, maybe that's what it is. This man was fighting in court. He was literally fighting in court to have Portia come to court in person when Portia's just like, I don't want to see you. Let's do everything via Zoom. And people feel as if that is what triggered the reason why ICE went after him. I think it could have been a variety of things. Sir has been credit card scams, bank fraud. He's been in trouble over the years. And he literally was applying for citizenship and got denied again last week? Simon.
I told you that's some new level of confidence right there.
I don't know if I want that level of confidence because I don't wish being in detainment right now, especially right now, because you could end up at Guantanamo Bay. I don't wish this on anyone. But sir, you were playing in everyone's faces, including the government, and laughing and trolling your soon-to-be ex-wife.
Exactly, and posting about it. That's why I think it gets crazy. Like, you're posting about all of these things that are kind of come to fruition for you because you are just believing that the system is on your side. The system is not on any of our side, sir. So what makes you think you are the exception to the rule?
Well, in all honesty, Richie, when you think about it, he's been playing these reindeer games since the 80s.
I mean, true.
So he's like, why not continue? That's 40-something years of playing these games.
a pattern now at this point. That's his life. That's life. This is a day in the life.
I just wonder what this means in regards to the legal battle with Portia, the divorce with Portia, the property, the money, the things like that. So
That
stay
is
tuned, guys. I have questions. I do want to say thank you, Paulina, for becoming a member. Av, thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate you. L. Singleton, thank you so much for the super chat. Will you continue to travel internationally in light of the plane crashes? Are you concerned for your safety? So I'm going to pose that question to you, Richie.
Yes, I am going to continue to travel. I do understand that there's risk with any level of travel at this point. I mean, but I've also learned that life is short. I think my dad, no day is promised. You know, I could walk out of the house today and something could happen.
Yeah.
You know, there are car accidents every day, but yeah, I still have to get in my car. So at the end of the day, I just have to pray about it and just try to keep it moving, to be honest with you. I think it's a valid question. It's a question that my friends have asked me. So yeah, and that's my stance on it. I'm just gonna keep doing what I feel like I'm led to do.
Here's the important detail that I don't think a lot of people realize. The plane crashes increases that we're seeing is actually a lot lower than previous years. For like the months of January and February, if you actually look at the amount of plane crashes this time versus last year, are actually lower. It's just that the press around it is getting a lot more media attention. So nothing really has changed. Flying is still probably the safest way to travel. So I'm glad that we're talking about it. I'm glad that we're talking. Thank you so much, El Singleton, for the super chat. Udama says, "Hey, Richie."
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the super chat, guys. Again, you can also support the channel just by liking the video. Joyce, thank you so much for the super chat. Joyce says, "OMG, my 3 favorites on the Lord's Day. Kempire, it was so good to meet you on Friday. Richie, it's your turn to come to the Big Apple, right?"
I gotta do something.
Yes. But wait, so God, God. Okay. So I was like, who's the third? Okay.
I was like, who the third person?
Not us. Us. See, I'm sorry. The people in church. Amen to the Lord. Amen to the Lord. Okay. Well, that's a perfect segue. Since we were talking about Simon getting detained by ICE, this is the perfect time to get into our travel conversation, what I'm calling traveling while Black. So you have a trip coming up, but you've already traveled a whole assortment of places in just the last year or so. Can we just talk about like your favorite place that you visited so far?
It has to be between Cape Town and Switzerland.
Okay, and they're so very different.
Yeah, Cape Town to me is like, I feel like if you are a person of color, like you have to go to Africa. Like that just is like a requirement to me, because I think that you have to see that there is a very different side than what the media here portrays. We're seeing that when we look at social media, because we see more people traveling, we see those experiences. But I think to be there is a completely different situation, and to see the beauty of it, and you feel almost as if you are home. I felt like that every time I've gone back to Cape Town. So that it's at the top of my list. If I could live there, I would. That's my ultimate goal. Switzerland, I think, is just a beautiful country. If you love, like, I love mountains. So if you love like mountains and snow, but if you want to also, be in the valleys where there's no snow, I mean, there you can get all of the above.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, personally, the people, I felt safe. I felt people were walking around like 11 p.m., 11:30 at night, midnight. Women would be walking alone, and you just didn't feel, in my opinion, like I was in danger. I would never, to be honest with you, I'm not walking around here nowhere by myself at 12:30 at night. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, just you think about these things, and you also kind of wonder sometimes as a Black person, for me.
Yeah.
I have this thing where wherever I go, I immediately ask myself, okay, like, how am I being treated here as a Black person? Like, what, and you almost have this little expectation that you're going to be treated somehow differently. And you may, I can't say you won't experience it, but it always lessens the longer I'm in a place. And I begin to feel so much more relaxed than I feel even here.
Yeah.
I have just fallen in love with being outside of the country for extended periods of time.
Yeah. And how did you feel, especially being a Black person in Switzerland, of all places? That's not very Black.
When I first got to Geneva, I would say There were instances because I was by myself that first day or so.
Mhm.
And I did feel like instances where people were like, if you would walk into like a crowded cafe or something like that, and they see, I'm 6'3" at this point, and so I come lumbering through, like, and you do see the, like people look, right?
Mhm.
But I would say that after I got adjusted to that, I didn't feel like it lasted very long because it was just like, I'm here, accept it, and nobody said nothing to me. And then I found this, another cafe where they were playing like Tupac, and I'm like, okay, let me go here for lunch, right?
Yeah.
And so I will tell you that I felt like there are two sides to Switzerland. There's a more French speaking side and there's a more German speaking side. To me, I felt I felt more welcomed, I should say, in an already welcoming place on the more German side.
Is that shocking, France? I mean, look, this is why we're talking about traveling while Black, especially
Real.
if you go to France. I mean, I've been to Paris,
Yeah.
but if you go to the south of France, I hear it's a little bit different over there. So I wasn't shocked. I was waiting to see what you said. I'm like, I wonder what side he felt more welcome on. I bet it was a German. And then you said, right, oh, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was like one of your favorite things to do in Switzerland?
So just visiting the Alps, I think going into the mountains and seeing the villages, that were up there and just realizing like, this is a whole different way of life. Like, a lot of times, people are renting those, spots and the chalets and just kind of being amongst like, just people from all over the place who come there to ski or to, just relax or just write or whatever. It was a different feeling. And so to kind of like have these experiences where I'm like literally on top of the world and I'm afraid of heights, mind you. So like there's that aspect of it and trying to and conquering those fears as well. So I just think that it's something that everybody needs to experience at least once in their life, because to be at that high of an elevation and to see what you see, you realize how big the world is, and it just gives you a different appreciation for life.
Most definitely. What was the thing in traveling to Switzerland or even Cape Town that you wish someone would have told you before going? Oh.
Okay. So Switzerland, listen, I went in March last year. So I wish that somebody had said, don't bring all these coats, travel light, because if you're traveling for 3 weeks,
Oh.
one thing I learned is I just I gotta repeat some of these outfits. Like
I wish I could be that person.
Huh?
I wish I could be that person. I'm like, I've been doing really well this year, though. In the last few months, and when I've been traveling for the show, I've been doing really well in regards to traveling a little bit lighter.
See, and doesn't it feel better?
I guess. But there's still always a part of me like, but what if I need?
But when you are in these cities and you are traveling every other day to a new spot by train, and you got to maneuver these trains with all of this luggage, and then when you get to the city or the village and you got to walk a mile up this hill to the hotel, you start really rethinking your travel logic and your packing logic at that point. So I wish I would have known that, because when I got to those elevations, I could have just rented ski equipment or ski jackets or something like that. Yeah. I didn't know that then.
Yeah. And that's something people should be thinking about when traveling somewhere. When I went to Portugal, I did a lot of research, and shout out to all the other, fellow travel content creators that do these types of videos on YouTube and on TikTok, because they tell you some of those things. And when I traveled to Portugal, one of the things they said, make sure that you're wearing the right kind of sneakers, because you could slip, fall. It's very hilly. Like, you could really hurt yourself. And that's the last thing that you want to do when you're traveling is to it's better healthcare there, but whatever. But you don't want to spend any time in the hospital. But I have to say, even with even with sneakers, I feel like it was somewhat dangerous in Portugal, just kind of walking around, getting around, but you definitely don't want to wear anything that wouldn't be conducive for walking. So that's one thing that I would say about traveling to Portugal, but also watching these content creators that are giving you the tips and the tricks about transportation, about what to wear, about, just those little things. Cape Town, though, for you, what do you wish someone would have told you before going to Cape Town?
The difference between black and colored.
Oh, okay. Tyler was just talking about this again this week. Okay, let's talk about that.
I think that what people need to understand is that when someone from South Africa says colored, their interpretation of that is very different from the historical context for which we know colored to mean.
Yeah.
So I do think she gets a lot of flack for something that is inherently innate in the culture of South Africa. That is essentially their term for what she would call herself.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that, I think when she comes to America and she's using the same terminology that she would use at home,
Yeah.
and to get the level of backlash that she's gotten because she's simply using something that's familiar to her it's sad to me, because if you go to South Africa, you would know that is a common term that is used to describe someone who looks like her or of her background, right? So that's the sort of thing that I think that you learn when you go there. And it makes me think, like, I just want I just want to take, when I see those comments, I'm like, can I just take you to South Africa so you can just like get a feel for where she's coming from? Because she's not coming from a negative place. This is just her lived experience.
Yeah. And it's not the same definition that we here in America define it. Here's the thing. This is why I always say that travel is its own education. For me, if you skip college for 1 year and go travel, I think that's what you should do, because when you start traveling to all these different places, you really are not only learning the culture of the place, but you're also meeting other people from other parts of the world that are teaching you about their lived experience and their culture and things like that. That's why I encourage every single person that's watching this and every person that I talk to, travel. It is its own education. And I think that's really important in regards to what you said. Where are some other places that you've traveled?
So I took a group to Bali last September, which was very enlightening as well. That's one of those places where I wish I had watched a few more videos, because we learned, and it's, speaking of like swearing sneakers, Bali is like, Bali can be a place where you can do some fabulous things. Definitely. They have some fabulous jungle clubs. There's fabulous nature-like things to do. But for my ladies, I don't know if you're going to want to bring your stilettos, pumps, and things like that, because the terrain is very uneven. It's very, like, no stair is equal.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're walking upstairs and you're expecting symmetry, forget about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Forget it. And we had experiences where people who were on the trip were like, yo, nobody mentioned any of this to us. And
some people really pack stilettos to go to Bali?
I mean, it's a thing where it's like you just learn while you're there. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't need these.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you want to go to these places. You want to take your photos. You might end up in a club. You're going to go to a fancy restaurant. But how did you get there? That's the thing. How did you get there? And what was the walk like to get from even the Uber to the restaurant? Because you still got to go up this cracked marble. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I can't even imagine going to Portugal and trying to wear any sort of stilettos. Even one day when I was in Portugal and I was wearing sneakers, these particular type of sneakers I shouldn't have worn, but it wouldn't. Those other sneakers wouldn't have gone with the outfit. So
I mean, that's the thing. You wanna have those moments that you capture, But I think it's like, bring them in your bag.
See, here we go. Now I got to pack another bag that I can carry with me, Richie. See, this is where my mind goes. Okay, I got to pack a bag that I can take around. Not only do I have to pack my bag, I have to pack a bag so I can take around with me that will hold my shoes.
I mean, there you go. Always have a book bag and a backup.
Damn.
A book bag. Okay, a swimsuit, a pair of swim trunks, and keep it pushing.
What did you love about Bali? That's on my list.
You know what? I think it was just the group experience in general. Doing a group trip it's like a project. Okay. So for those of you guys in corporate America, it's like project management, right? There's a lot of elements to it, a lot of moving parts. But I will say the impact is the most fulfilling aspect for me. Seeing people who would not have ever come together before, come together and then develop these relationships and a lot of the people in the group chat, they are still communicating to this day.
Oh, I
And
love
they've now decided that they wanted to go to Thailand with us. And so when you see that level of like, I had this much fun that I want to do it again,
yeah.
or I had this much fun with you and I want to keep in contact with you. Honestly, there was a moment at the end of the trip where I remember two people who had roomed together that did not know each other because, it's double occupancy or single occupancy, depending on how you do it. And they may put you in a room with somebody that you don't know if you don't book somebody else that you know. And I remember the last night, one of the girls had not seen her roommate because she stayed in a room that somebody else had left earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So she had the room to herself. And I remember she was like, not frantically searching, but she was like searching for the person that she had been rooming with.
Yeah.
Because her flight was about to leave to go back home. And she was like, I'm oh my God, I was looking for you. And I just happened to be sitting with her.
Yeah.
And when I saw them hug, because they didn't spend that last night together, and just, it was the way they just embraced each other. I was literally in tears, man. And I know, and shout out to Lisa, that's one of the people who was there. She was just sitting there. She was just like handing me tissue. Like,
Yeah, here you go, cancer. Being all vulnerable. That's good though. That's very nice. I like that you're being vulnerable and you're shedding tears in front of all of us. No, but what you say is really, really true. I did a group trip. It was a tour that I did. It was a lot of older people, and it was me and my best friend. We were the youngest people on this tour. But you're spending, I think we spent like 3 weeks together, almost 3 weeks. By the end of that, you are either hating the people or loving the people. And for the most part, you're loving the people.
Mhm.
And talk to me a little bit more about these group trips, because I know we've talked about it before, but I want people to understand it because I know you have one coming up right this week.
Yeah.
You have
So
one coming? Yeah, go ahead.
this week we're going to go to Thailand. In September,
Jealous.
we have Zanzibar. And then in November, we have Cape Town.
Wait, in September you have Zanzibar?
Yes.
And then
September
what?
through the 28th.
What? Okay. And all of that information is available in the description as well. So
Yeah.
Zanzibar in September, and then you said one other one.
Cape Town, November 30th through December 7th.
Okay. And how does it work to be a part of this with you?
You literally you can put a down payment or to make your reservation. And from there, you can pay over time. So we allow people enough time so that they can pay, you can pay in one lump sum if you want. You can pick a single room if you want. I always suggest that if you can. Because when you've been with a group all day, I feel like sometimes the last thing when you come back, you want to woosah,
I would say that's me.
Me too. So, but yeah, I mean, we have a lot of fun. And then we have group chats for each group as we are preparing so that we can keep engaged. If you have questions, I am there, to answer anything along the way. We keep a highly engaged group for each trip. And it just becomes something magical to me because I knew when I left Switzerland, I was like, more people need to come here. Like, why don't I see more Black people here? And I realized, I'm like, maybe it's just not on a lot of Black people's radars.
Yeah.
And so I began to try to find places that were either on people's radars or maybe not necessarily on their radars, because then they would have the opportunity to see or do something that they hadn't done. And a lot of the people that come with us have never traveled overseas before, or they've never traveled by themselves before. And now they are risking it all to, kind of come and be with us. And that means a lot to me.
And I think that's fantastic because you're right. There are a lot of people that aren't willing to travel by themselves, but at least with this sort of situation, you're not by yourself. You're with people that you are getting to know, and it's being head up by someone that they know and love as well. So I think that is an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's just also like I said, giving people an opportunity to see things that they've never seen before opens their eyes to what they can do and what they can be. And I just think that that's super important, especially right now. I think that people need options. I think that people need to see that there is more than one way to live. And when you start to see that, then you just start to grow and you start to realize, I don't have to be here.
No.
I don't have to take what's happening right now. Or if I need a break, I can take that break. And now I've done this before and now I can do it again. So with the group trips, we allow people to do that in a safe space with a group of people that they will feel comfortable with. But I also try to work with people to teach them how to travel solo, to do it alone and get discounts on hotels and all that type of stuff as well, so that you don't have to feel like I have to be this influencer or I have to get, I teach you how to get paid to do it, but on your own terms.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. Shout out to everyone that's joining us. I'm here with our special guest, DJ Richie Skye. All of his information, including all the travel information that's coming up, is available in the description. Danielle, thank you so much for being a member for 32 months. She says, my two favorites. Hey, Kempire. Hey, Richie. Miss you, friend. Hey, Danielle.
Danielle actually came with us to Bali.
Excuse me. All right. I wish I could have went to Bali. I want to go to Bali's on my list. Thailand's on my list. Everywhere's on my list. Damn it. Special K, thank you so much for the super chat. Was in Paris and Nice, had a surprisingly amazing time. Oh, and Nice, I think you meant? Okay. Yeah, I was supposed to stop there on a cruise, and it didn't stop because there was some sort of unrest at the time. Okay. But that's the south of France, so eventually I will go. I don't let a little racism stop me from going anywhere. Yo, thank you for the super chat. Staten says we had a ball in Bali crew. Oh, see, look at that. I'm gonna have to do one of these things. MXRE, thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate your support. Guys, you can also just support by liking the video, going to DJ Richie Skye and liking his video, subscribing, and checking out all the information in the description in regards to DJ Richie. So you have a lot of trips, but let's talk about the logistics, because you said that one of the things in part of doing these group trips, you're helping people be able to travel smarter as opposed to spending a whole lot of money. What's like the biggest tip you can give to those while traveling Black? Would you give to the audience in regards to booking trips and things like that?
I would say that the best way to save money and to also make money while you're doing this is there's a membership that I have. You can just simply text me for that information. But it offers you travel discounts up to 80% off. These are travel agent rates, so you don't have to pay the full rates. You can still use your Amex card. You can still get all your points. You can still get miles when you fly, but now you're getting discounts and loyalty points. So it's kind of like what I've worked with hotels. I've worked with, other travel companies. But to me, there's nothing like empowering people to be able to do it themselves and then to save their own money and also make money at the same time simply by referring other people. So that's probably the biggest thing that I have learned, to empower people to do it themselves.
Yeah.
But like I said, again, if you don't want to go to Thailand by yourself and you want to go with a group, then finding someone like me who is doing something like this is a great way to also get your start, because it's also safe. You feel that level of safety with the group. So it's kind of on what you're looking for.
Have you ever traveled somewhere that you felt like, I don't feel so safe here?
Yes.
Are we not going to say where? Oh, God, I'm scared. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, I don't know what this was. So I chalked it up to a one-time situation. When I landed in Dubai, I remember it was like 5 of us that were traveling. So it's 2 Black guys and there were 2 Black women, right? And a child. So I want to give you just bare descriptions, because I want you to see the scenario unravel without knowing who I am, right? And it's the 2 guys, me, okay? And we are walking out of the airport, and there are 2 armed security guards near the exit to the airport, and they are approaching us until the 2 Black women who were with us, who were also with a child, approached us, and they saw that we were together. And the guards turned around and they just walked away. Right up on us. So there was no mistaking that whatever, I don't know what the case was. I don't know what they were coming to ask or do or say. That was probably the only time that I felt like, am I in danger right now? Like, I'm about to be pulled back into some back room and I don't know what that was.
But I didn't play either.
For me, the only thing that I've experienced that made me feel like someplace where I was not familiar, I was unsafe.
Yeah. Ooh, ooh. I mean, and look, everywhere you go, there are, even here in the United States, there are places I'm sure we all go to that's not our hood or whatever. I mean, maybe our hood, and you don't feel unsafe. But I think that's interesting because, especially with all the stories we see coming out of Dubai, people getting, arrested in Dubai. Where's Onijah Robinson Ahmed? Where is she? I'm just, look, I haven't heard anything from our girl from Pakistan. Huh? No, she's not. Last I heard, she's still in Dubai. They had taken her off the airplane. She was, I guess, leaving Dubai after causing a ruckus. And apparently, allegedly, we don't know for a fact, they took her off the airplane because she apparently committed a bunch of different, she broke a bunch of different laws in Dubai.
And see, that's the other thing you gotta, that is another big thing for me is respecting the culture.
Especially traveling while black.
Please respect the culture. Outside of that experience, I had a blast in Dubai. Outside of that, I had no negative experience. Like everything was, it's still one of my top places that I feel like I want to be back. I want to go back there. It was just that one experience getting out of the plane, but I was supposed to go to Kenya over Christmas break, which I'm glad I didn't, obviously now, because knowing what happened with my dad, I wouldn't have been able to get back as. But my friend was telling me his dad, he has a pretty high ranking, he's a pretty high ranking official. So his dad had to send an armored car for him to get from the airport to the home, which was gated. I mean, with like armed security guards. So, I'm still interested in going because I want to see it for myself. But, that was on the books.
And I think that also goes into, I think a lot of people, a lot of times, I want to go somewhere and they don't do their research in regards to the culture. Like when I went to Japan, I got to pick your brain about Japan because we talked a lot about Japan. But learning, especially some place like Japan, where, because some people aren't going to be as even keeled as us when we're traveling. So some people might react to someone looking at them like what you're looking at. You know what I mean? But also just understanding the culture before you go. And this is why I think doing research is important. Not just research on what you want to do while you're there, but research on the culture so that you can respect the culture. You know what I mean?
Listen, Japan is definitely one of those places where you want to research before you go because the culture there is very, very different. And it's very, very quiet.
Yeah.
It is like you cannot go there making a whole lot of noise because, I mean, somebody will let you know, and they're not rude by any means, but it's just you will get the vibes when you get there.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen videos if you follow on TikTok in regards to, if you're a black person traveling in Japan, if people look at. I have to say, I only had that experience maybe once in the 2 weeks that I was in Japan that I noticed because, I'm also in my own world. Like, where am I? Where am I going? But it's usually the older folks in Japan, and I don't think they mean it in a disrespectful way. Is that there aren't a lot of black people in Japan.
They're not.
It's just not. But what I loved about Japan, super clean, lots of great shopping. I didn't expect the shopping part. Next time I go, I'm bringing an empty suitcase. Like, what was your favorite parts of Japan? And where did you go in Japan?
So I went to Tokyo and Osaka. I think I preferred Osaka over Tokyo. It felt a little more gritty to me. It felt more reminiscent of New York, I felt like. And I think that I enjoyed the shopping there better as well. And the weather was, to be honest with you. So that could have accounted for, it was rainy when we were in Tokyo. I would never go back in August. Knowing what I know now, it's like, that's like their rainy season. So it's like, again, that's a research thing. It was a last-minute trip. And so at that point, it was like, okay, the trip made it out of the group chat. Okay, let's go. We're going. Right? But yeah, I would say that Osaka to me it felt more familiar.
Yeah. Okay. I need to. There are other places. I went to Kyoto in Tokyo. I loved Kyoto just because I spent New Year's in Kyoto. I mean, Kyoto's a lot of temples and things. I love that. To me, that must be like the nerdy history side of me. When I travel, I love seeing that stuff. So I really enjoyed Kyoto and ringing the New Year at a temple. And as you're walking through the streets, here in New York, you're probably just hearing fireworks and people screaming. There, all you're hearing throughout the streets of Kyoto on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, are everyone ringing bells at the temples. So that's all you're hearing throughout the city. So for me, that was like such a magical experience to ring in 2024 that way. But I loved Japan because it was so clean. I came back to New York and I said, that's where I had the culture shock. Coming back to New York on the train, on the 2 train, looking down and seeing a pile of dirt, literally a pile of dirt. And I said, I'm not in Japan anymore. I'm not in Japan anymore. Damn. But I love Japan. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. So you have Thailand coming up. Are you excited? What do you have planned? And you're doing a group trip, right?
Yes. Am I excited about it? I hadn't been excited because I felt like I'd just been dealing with so much with like just family stuff.
Yeah.
And then I have a slight passport issue that I have to get rectified tomorrow. Right. It's crazy.
Ice is out there. I'm playing.
Okay. As we learned. So, but I think once I start packing and once I get to the airport, I will be excited. I mean, we're going to do it all. We're going to be going from Bangkok to Phuket. Recently learned that there's a 44-pound weight limit for your bags when flying international. Like,
important detail.
Yeah. So that's going to be a little bit of a struggle because I'm like, I got to really pack light now. Because I mean, you can go up to 70 pounds, but at 70 pounds, they're like, you're not even putting this thing on the flight.
Damn.
Because if you think about it, okay, if you're flying over there business class, you have a 70-pound weight limit, right?
Yeah.
You're flying typically like economy, it's usually about 55 maybe or so pounds. And then now you have to take that down to 44 pounds.
You already know I have a problem. I'm like, what?
Like,
and then how many suitcases are you allotted? That depends on your airline too.
Depends on the airline, but because of the airline that we're taking, which, you know, the company that I work with, they actually manage that. Okay. It is, you can bring an extra bag, but you're just going to have to pay.
Okay.
So there's that. So you're allowed your check bag, you're allowed your carry-on and your personal item. Okay. Little things learned along the way.
And what's the weather like right now in town? It's warm, right? It's hot.
Yes. So I'm excited about that.
Cyber, someone said White Lotus. Are you watching White Lotus? Are you a fan?
I want to. I have never watched that show before.
Immediately on your long flight to Thailand, please, season 1 and season 2. You're going to Thailand at the best time because after White Lotus airs, apparently tourism goes up wherever they film. Tourism goes up like 300%. So Thailand was already a hot spot. It's going to be an even bigger hot spot after the White Lotus.
You know what? I might watch after this because I don't have anything to do today but just like get myself ready and start packing.
Season 1 and then report back.
I will let you know.
Chris has a question. Hey, Christopher. I'm going to call you by your full name. Christopher Brunson. Hi, guys. Question. Okay. If you had to guess, why do you think the Dubai police were approaching you?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I gave you the scenario because I wanted you to just get the feeling that I had. Our entire party was black. But once the 2 women came, I don't know. There were the factors involved. I mean, I just felt like you see 2 tall black guys, and now 2 armed security guards are approaching us. I can only reasonably assume one thing, but I don't want to assume that because I try not to live my life via the lens, hate to say, like either a white gaze or anyone else's gaze for that matter. So I don't know.
Have you ever experienced any like outright racism while traveling?
Not particularly. And I think it's a hard question to answer, right? Because I think that sometimes when people look at me, they don't know what they're looking at. So they don't, and I say that because when I lived in Miami, I would get into an Uber and they're speaking Spanish to me. So I'm like, Paquito. I don't know Spanish. Again, so I think sometimes when I'm when I'm maneuvering, I just have to also be cognizant that, you know, it could be a variety of factors that could impact
Mm.
why I am maybe seen a certain type of way or not. So I don't
Case
know.
of them eyes too.
Yeah, it's like it's those factors that I also have to be cognizantly aware of that could deter someone from
Yeah.
making a racist statement or not.
I love that you said that because I've been to Amsterdam like so many times, and I do want to hear from you. Like, where's the one place that you've been to so many times? And I remember Ari Lennox coming out talking about her experience in Amsterdam, and in my head, I was like, I've never had that experience, but very much like what you said, my appearance versus maybe Ari Lennox's appearance is probably going to be treated differently, also because I'm a man. So I think that's so important to mention because we don't know that experience. And look, I think when you're traveling, things are going to happen. I don't have and not in my forefront in regards to a story of experiencing racism doesn't mean that it probably was maybe what's the word veiled.
Then
And because I'm so oblivious, you got to be very obvious with me with everything. I'm like, oh, maybe that was racism. I don't know.
I'm still red.
Yeah. And look, and Tina says your hue can matter. Unfortunately. What are some of like your travel tips for those that are traveling to anywhere? Just the mainstays that people should keep in mind.
Ooh, I guess there are a couple. I think for me, some important things to always remember is just the culture of the space where you're visiting, because you don't want to be the person that's getting there and making all the cultural faux pas and just either embarrassing your group or embarrassing yourself or finding yourself locked up.
Yeah.
That's number one for me. Uh, Packing for your trip. I mean, understanding where you're going and the time of weather that you're going, like the current temperature there. That's a big thing that even the most seasoned traveler sometimes, again, like you love to pack. So
Excuse me. No judgments. Judgment free zone. We listen and we don't judge. Okay. Happy Black History Month.
not the visual. But really understanding like what you're going to have to do when you get there, because that also will make a difference. I made that mistake when I went to Switzerland, overpacking,
Yeah.
not needing all of these things, and just understanding what the basic essentials are that you will actually need. Another tip that I would say is I like to capture everything. I film everything. Everything is content to me. I feel like you just never know how you can utilize that content. There are so many platforms out here that pay. Snapchat pays. Instagram can pay if you work it
Are you
well.
on Snapchat?
I recently got on Snapchat. Yes,
I have the app and I have the name, but I never got into Snapchat. But I hear that's a nice check.
I hear it's a nice check too, so I'm working my way there.
I don't blame you.
There's always YouTube as well. Like people love to see these travel adventures. So why not be one of those people that shows people like what this experience is like through your lens? Because that's the best way to really tell, like, okay, well, what does someone who looks like me, what are they experiencing when they go to
Yeah.
Italy? Because people were telling me, oh, they are really racist in Italy. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm still here. It's still on the itinerary. So
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with me. you know? So I think it's just also remember that everything can be content.
Oh, okay, Judy says I follow a lot of people on Snapchat. Let me get on Snapchat later today. Liz is watching from Kenya. Speaking of Kenya, one of the biggest tips, and we can continue with some of your tips. One of the biggest tips that I have never turned back from, I've been using it for years, are those travel packs. So you could put all your shirts in one old travel pack because it's so easy to pack and unpack. And you can kind of put those in drawers if you have drawers or in a closet or whatever of your hotel, and it doesn't have to touch the hotel stuff. That has been a game changer for me. I've been doing that for years. It's so easy if you have those travel packs. You can get them pretty much anywhere. I'm not going to say Amazon, but you can get one from Amazon too. Um, Osa, thank you so much for the super chat. Osa says, I love traveling to France. I live in London. And one thing I've learned is that you should research common scams and tourist traps before you go. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's an interesting one because I think it depends on the type of experience that you're trying to have as well, right? Some people will go and they will want to see the things that other people show them on Instagram because that can be the tourist trap, unfortunately. So I would definitely say you have to listen to your own best judgment about the type of experience that you want to have. There are definitely ways where you can find local guides. And if you do, I would just say use trusted resources, like either go through your hotel, apps like Viator are really, really good for helping you find people that can actually help you navigate and you can see their reviews. I would check apps like that first before I did anything.
Airbnb experiences I've loved. It's not available everywhere, but I've loved some of the experiences because you find like really unique things that you're not going to find like maybe on Expedia or things like that. So I've had some really cool experiences through Airbnbs, depending on the city because they vary.
They do. I had I planned a group trip. This was like before I really got into like the group trips. This was like a casual, like a couple of my friends. And we had done an Airbnb in Cape Town. And I remember this was in 2021. So it was still like kind of pandemic-y and there was like a resurgence.
Yeah.
And a lot of people started backing out of the trip. And that left me footing the bill. Very large Airbnb. Airbnb then told me it's up to the owner's discretion as to whether or not she wants to refund my money. Said no. Even though there was a reason for it.
Yeah.
So we had to make the determination at the last like a couple of weeks beforehand whether or not the small contingent of us would still go. And we decided to go. And ultimately what she did do was she found us another property that wasn't as expensive, that had less rooms, that, it just was more affordable for us.
Yeah.
I did learn a very valuable lesson with Airbnb. If you are doing something like that for a group of people, have them either pay you up front and make that a non-refundable thing. Don't take on that whole ownership by yourself because it can become a nightmare, especially out of the country. So as long as you have the protocol set in place for something like that, I say go for it. Yeah. But just also know that in the event that something happens, it's up to the owner's discretion.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think a lot of people don't realize, though, with Airbnb, they have like these experiences, not just properties where you can.
I didn't realize that.
And it depends. It varies. Some cities are better than others in regards to the types of experiences that are available. But a lot of the places that I've traveled, I sometimes forget, like, I should check Expedia as well, because I've gotten into such a habit of utilizing Airbnb experiences because those are locals and they are, assessed by Airbnb before they can actually even be on it. It's hard to actually get on there with your experience. That's where I found, like, if you go to Portugal, I can't remember, it's a Black History tour. You have to do that. If anything, that should be your first tour because people like to paint Portugal in a certain light. Yeah. This will kind of break that down for you so you know what you're dealing with when you're in Portugal. So the other important thing for me when traveling, it's not just about, very much like what they were asking in regards to doing the touristy thing. I do a mix of both because there's certain touristy things that you're going to want to do. If you're going to Paris, go to the Eiffel Tower. It's the Eiffel Tower. There's certain things that you should do. Yep. Just do your homework. When's the best time? Is it even open yet? What certain places like Buckingham Palace, when I went there for the King's coronation, I didn't go there for the King's coronation. I just happened to be there. It was closed because of the King's coronation. And it's only open, I think, during the summer for a period of time. But the other important thing that people should do, everyone, this is why I say that traveling is its own education, is try the food. And this is coming from the pickiest eater you've ever met. Okay? Try the food because that is part of the cultural experience. Are you a picky eater, Richie?
I am not. I am and I am not. But I will.
You am and you am not. Hold on, sir.
I'm only picky about certain things. Like, I don't like onions. Like, don't give me no onions. Like it's little things like that. Okay. But in terms of like trying like the things that are available to me in like that are cultural specific.
Yeah.
In a certain space, I am all for it. Like, give me everything. I want to try one of everything. I am not the person that will shy away from that. And I think that that's also something that people have to remember when they're traveling with a group of people, is that there will be some people who are very much like, I ain't never seen this before, so I'm never going to eat it. And I have to remind myself also, too, that I have to let them experience that in the way that they choose to experience it. That's something I've had to learn. Not everybody is going to be like me.
Yeah.
You know, they have this cat poop coffee in Bali.
What?
Yeah, it's like
Say that, you need to slow it down and say that again so people understand exactly what you just said.
So at this one jungle like club, like they have like you first enter. I remember telling my cousin, I was like, I need some coffee or something like to wake me up. And as soon as I walked in, I mean, it's like Simon, I manifested it. And so,
Nothing about it.
So it was like this little station, and the cat is right there, and the cat eats like this coffee bean, and then it goes through the digestive process, and then after that, it comes out and they process it, and you can actually go through the process of making the coffee yourself and then tasting it. And it was probably the best coffee I've ever had outside of Switzerland.
Also, when you went to Switzerland, that was one of the best coffees you ever had too.
Oh, Swiss coffee is like, I don't know what they do to that. I don't know what they put in it. It's not really black. It's like brownish, but it's good. It is so good. And you're not jittery. It's like enough to like give you a burst of like energy, but like you don't crash from it.
Wow. But okay, back to the cat poop pop coffee that you drank. But you said it was the best?
Second best, yeah.
What was like the flavor? Did you put anything else in it besides the cat poop?
No, just sugar. That was it.
just sugar. Oh, okay. I really thought for a second I was like, wait, did he just say cat poop coffee?
Yes. And the cat is right there.
Was the cat cute? Did you take a picture of the cat? I need you to post the cat on your Instagram story today.
I will post the cat.
And tag me in it.
I will tag you. You will see the entire process. I have a video of it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, some of it.
Damn. What are you looking forward to? Because you're going to Thailand this week. You have a group trip going to Thailand this week. You and I are going to have to sit down and have a conversation about it because I know everybody's going to be like, Kempire, when are you going to do your group trip?
I've been telling him he should.
I know he has. But when I travel, I really just try to get away from all of y'all. No. But I have done group trips before in regards to like a group tour. And what you talk about, the magic of what happens during that. When I went to Portugal, I did that Black History tour, and I met a couple of people that were subscribers and people that weren't subscribed. They had no idea. And the conversations we have a group chat. So it can be a magical thing. I just can be antisocial sometimes.
Trust me. I'm an introvert.
Cancer. I get it. Cancer rising. I get it. We had a couple of super chats I just want to address. And thank you so much for the super chat. Anne says, Hiya Kempire, reminder about ethical tourism, i.e. not riding elephants, camels, or posing with lions or tigers. These animals are often mistreated and drugged. Yes. Thailand, New Year in April, many parties enjoy. So you telling me that's when I should go to Thailand? It's April? Okay.
That's what I heard.
And brings up a very valid point. I think that's also important to do your research on that because I think that was a really popular thing. You would see people taking pictures with the tigers and things like that. And you're like, how do they do that? That's how they do that. And we don't want that. We don't want that. Sephora, thank you so much for the super chat. Sephora says, the thing that stops me from traveling solo is the language barrier. I know most of y'all of the world most of the world speaks English, but it blocks me from wanting to go venture solo. I need to woman up. What advice would you give to Sephora Bernard?
Just pick a place and go. Like, I mean, to be honest with you, like pick something that you feel like maybe like a place where they speak English. And I think that's a good way to start, right? When you go to obviously the UK, you can go to France or you can go to Switzerland, and they're 9 times out of 10, the places that you're going to go, they're going to be speaking English. If they don't, they may not speak it natively, like and just naturally, but they will be able to recognize that you don't speak their language, trust and believe. And then they will usually 9 times out of 10, if you are where the tourists are, they'll know.
Yeah. And for the most part, a lot of the places you're going, because we've probably been to so many places where they don't speak English as their first language. And we haven't had a problem, but I also understand we have a different experience, especially as men traveling solo versus women traveling solo. I understand, which is you probably have a lot of women that travel with you on these group trips. So that's also another really great opportunity to kind of be able to go do this, and you're doing with a group of people that speak your language, that you're not doing this on your own. So I think that's fantastic as well. But all the places that I've traveled, the only place that I felt really intimidated by, and rightfully so, because based off my research, I learned some important words in French. But yeah, France, just speak English, because if you try and you butcher their language, like I was with my friend who speaks their language fluently, and they were judging his French, and he lives there in France. So
I just stopped trying when I was like, you know what?
Parlez-vous français?
And they're looking at you like, and you will speak to them in French, and when you don't do it right, they're going to speak to you back in American, like in English. Excuse me.
And real stank. It's okay. I'm coming back to France at some particular point. Maybe here,
but now I know.
Yeah, I'm not even trying. But again, I have my translator. So my first trip to France I was like, whoo, thank God. But before going, I never rely on anyone. So before going, because this was a solo trip and my friend lives there. So I was just sort of like, I'm going to learn certain words. Do you speak English? Just certain key things. But as Richie said, start somewhere that may be like Japan. They're speaking Japanese all the time, but they will try. They will literally like point. They are probably one of the most politest cultures that I've traveled to. So they will try, even though I know that might be concerning to you and it can be overwhelming,
and they're organized.
Yeah. Oh my God. Super organized. I came back. I was like, y'all are a mess. United States is ghetto. Okay. Y'all need to get it together. Why aren't we doing these things? First of all, a bidet. I love a bidet. I have a bidet everywhere, even the public restrooms. I'm not using the public restroom, even in Japan, even though it was super clean. I'm not using it. It had a bidet. Okay.
Where?
I love it. I also love when your bathrooms, because I love a hot shower. You go to the mirror. There is a space. I was like, where in the Jetsons are we right now? There's a space that is not fogged up. Why don't we have that here? Why are we so dumb?
Honestly, the first hotel we went to, there was a keyboard in every room. And I'm like, why? It was a keyboard and a Bluetooth all in one. And it played classical music if you wanted it to.
Okay.
It was just like, this was like next level everywhere, every hotel we went to in Japan.
I love it. I love Japan. Miss Brooklyn Diamond, thank you so much for the super chat. Miss Brooklyn says, hey, yes, DJ Richie, I loved that coffee and actually bought some and brought it home. Did you try ostrich in Connecticut? In Connecticut? Cape Town. I was like, CT, Connecticut? No, she means Cape Town.
I did the first time that I went, and it was very good. It is so good. I had it on a wine tour, and it was just like, it was fabulous.
What did it taste like, if you had to compare it?
Oh, like, I hate to say gamey because I feel like people that has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But it's like a gamier chicken it was like a chicken / turkey, but seasoned very well.
Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm going to pick your brain when it's time for me to go to Cape Town. Stanielle, thank you so much for another super chat. Stanielle says, some people liked it. It was a hell no for me. They make it in iced coffee, because Stanielle was on this trip with you. They make it in iced coffee too.
Yeah, they make it in a lot of places there. It's like they have like little coffee shops, and you can just get it on the streets as well. So it's like a big thing.
I never heard of that before. But again,
I'm glad you didn't try it.
I'm not a big coffee drinker, so it makes me wonder if I would like it or not.
Yeah, I think I have to be in the mood for coffee. Like, if you watch my channel, you can definitely tell like when I've had it. But some days I feel like I just need that extra burst of adrenaline. But I that day I felt like I needed some coffee, and there was a cat
delivering. Samara, thank you so much for the super chat. Samara says, do a duo trip. That's a
I convinced him to do this. I would be more than happy to. I'll work on that.
Look, my camera shows. We'll talk. I think that would be awesome. And then I'm gonna need like a week after where there's no. Lauren, thank you so much for the super chat. Lauren says Thailand is my spot. I've been there so many times. You will enjoy Bangkok, but Chiang Mai is the best. That's what I always hear.
So I have heard the same thing. I have an extra couple of days in Phuket after the trip ends, and I was gonna try to see if I could make it to Chiang Mai. I don't know that I will be because I feel like I think I'm gonna want to just chill on the beach.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I should just do that.
Yeah.
And make Chiang Mai like my next Thailand adventure.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Lauren, for the super chat. KB, thank you so much for the super chat. KB says, I usually travel solo and I am female. I love your perspective, but I hope you do this again with female traveler, truly enjoying all of the insight. Thank you so much, KB. Yes, and I definitely will.
I would love to put you to connect you with Nubia Young. She has a Black in Tulum, and she travels quite frequently. She made this her career. And I knew her when she used to live here in DC. I met her like years ago, and she would be awesome. So I would love to connect with her because I think that it would also feel, the women I feel like would get a different perspective on how she has traveled and how she came to be in this space in Mexico.
Definitely. We are down for it. Speaking of collabs, guys, don't forget tomorrow we will be live with Layla Lynn and Grace Report for our special collab. The Dream Team is back for the Real Housewives of Potomac tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. PST. So make sure the link is now available. And speaking of links, more information on DJ Richie Skye, his YouTube channel, and everything that he's got going on, especially his group trips that are coming up, is available in the description as well. Let me just say, Danielle says, do it, Kempire Richie. I will be the first to sign up for the trip.
See?
We just got to figure out where. Right? Going to all the good places. Thailand, Bali, Cape Town.
Always other places to go or go back to.
Oh, that's true. Where would you go back to? Besides Cape Town?
I would love to take a group of Black people to Switzerland. That would be amazing. I think that just to see all of us walking through there, like that would be crazy. I would go back to Bali too. I would do it a little bit differently because now I know more. So I would go. Huh?
How would you do it differently?
I would probably have had us spend more time near the beach because our first hotel was actually sort of inside Ubud. So it's kind of like, it was kind of on its own. So if you wanted to leave the resort, you had to kind of like go by transportation. Okay. I felt like the second place that we went to, I wouldn't have us stay there, but I would have us stay at the place that we went to for dinner that last night. Okay. Knowing what I know now, I'm like, oh, it's right on the beach. To me, it was a much better experience in terms of the food. It was just like, you just know, the more you know.
How are those decisions made in regards to where you guys are staying, what you're doing for these like group trips? Because I'm figuring out these details. So, because I would like to go to Bali. Just saying.
Well, I mean, it's super easy because they have packages that they have already available for you, and you can sort of pick the package that most meets what you think may be the demand for the group, or how adventurous you feel like they would be. So they have a rating system. So like a rating of 1 or 2 means that it's not as physically strenuous because you won't necessarily know who or the age ranges of people that are going on the trip.
No.
So unless you're very specific about, we're going hiking in the Alps or we're going hiking up this mountain, then you kind of want to just leave that a little bit open, right?
Yeah.
To determine the activity level. Yeah. But outside of that, I mean, there's also companies out there that I'm working with now where you can sort of pick everything a la carte and you can put it together yourself. That's what we did for Zanzibar, and that's what I'm doing for Cape Town.
Ooh. Okay, excuse me. Samara says Morocco's a great. I just thought that's always been on my list. Morocco's on your itinerary coming up.
I want to go.
Oh, okay.
I want to put it on my list.
I want to go too. Shoot. Danielle spilled all the tea on your Bali trip. Tell them about the monkey sanctuary. Okay, now tell us about that. And then I'm going to let you know it's getting late.
I will say this. Doing a group trip, I think that one of the first things that's always good is an activity where people feel a little afraid for themselves, because I feel like they bond a little bit faster. And I'm glad we did that early, because you hear about the monkeys and you feel like they're going to be cute, and they are cute from afar until they start grabbing your stuff, yanking things out of your hand, jumping on your head. Like you think it's a game until you see it. And when you see it, I'm kind of like, okay, now that I've done that, I don't need to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I would want to do that either. I mean, I love animals, but I don't know if I.
If I had my way, I would always start the trip with an adventure where it felt like there was a little bit of danger.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm telling you, it's the best way to get people to bond.
Yeah. Lauren says, I did Morocco for my 40th. It was amazing. I want to do Morocco.
I do too. I really, really do.
That's been on my list for a few years. I just haven't done it because my friend who's Moroccan said, I'll take you. So this is another travel tip. Don't wait on anyone.
Don't.
Because you'll never do anything.
That's another reason for the group trips, is because if you've been waiting on somebody to do something with you, this is your opportunity to say, okay, you know what? I don't have to wait on you any longer. I have a group that I don't know them yet, but I will. By the time I'm done, like, we family at that point.
Yeah.
So you don't have to wait on somebody else that you have is going to like just kind of yank your chain about, okay, yeah, I'm going. And they never really go.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Let me see some of these comments. I'm trying to. Okay. Caramel Cutie says, hey, Kempire and Richie, let me find out you two are dynamic duo. Anyway, I love traveling to different countries and plan to go on vacation within the next few months. I'm not sure where. Suggestions, DJ Richie?
I guess it depends on what kind of experience you want to have. Like, you want to be on a beach someplace? Do you want to go someplace where you can look and feel fabulous? Or do you want, tell me the experience and I can tell you where to go.
And I think it's also important to figure that out, because sometimes you think you're a beach person, or you think you love to walk, or you think you love culture, or you love to do like the museums. And then you go on a couple of trips and you're like, I don't think I'm that person.
You will learn fast. You will learn.
And you also learn who you can travel with. You cannot travel with just anyone either. Because I am that person. I love to walk on my trips. I love to go do a mix of interesting experiences, but also some touristy things. But I also like to do things. Some people just like, I just want to go to the beach, or I just want to, go eat. And that's their thing. I can do both. I can go eat because I love to eat. And then I want to wake up early and I want to go see the things. I don't necessarily have a list, but I have like a running list in my head. I don't want to go somewhere and not feel like I haven't done something about the culture.
And I think it's also too, like, you kind of have to, there's a balance to it that I've learned as well. Like if you can't pack the trip so much that you don't feel like you got any rest, because that really can, it's fun, but you don't feel rested when you leave. And I want people to, like with Zanzibar, that is going to be a more relaxed sort of adventure type trip, where we're clear kayaking, we're kind of like, chilling and, exploring. Whereas Cape Town, I feel like it's more like, if you want to do and be the fabulous things, like that's the place where we're going to be doing the fabulous things, where you can bring your stilettos, your pumps in the club, all of those types of things. So it just depends. And I will never pack out a trip where it's so hectic that you don't have any downtime, because that's the worst.
Yeah. That's true. I think you need a balance of both. But some people aren't like that. Some people are like, I need to do this, this, and this. But I also feel when traveling, you want to be able to create memories, because if you've just been doing please understand, the things that I remember from my trips aren't the touristy things.
They're not.
It's the food, it's the people, it's the stories, it's those things. Danielle, thank you so much for another super chat. She says, to be honest, we bonded over that, a defining moment. It was hilarious.
The monkeys, yeah. We also bonded when the bus broke down.
The bus broke down.
Yeah, I mean, the AC went out on the bus. It was super hot. Whew. We made the best of it, because I was panicking. I was about to have a meltdown, because I'm thinking to myself, oh God, like, how has this happened to me? How has it happened now? But there was a fried chicken place across the street. Don't you know? We The entire group goes over to get fried chicken. By the time we finished getting our order, they had brought another bus. It was like it was meant to be. It was great. I mean, you have to learn how to turn those experiences into something fun. Like, if you can do that with that group, it was a good group.
Yeah. And just it's all about changing your perspective. I think that's with everything in life, but especially when traveling, you are going to have maybe a hiccup or two. But I'm big on prep before going in regards to the things that you can prevent, understanding the transportation, understanding the culture, understanding the food. All those things you can prep in advance. But there are things like a bus breaking down where you can't help it. Things happen. It happens anywhere. So, Patience says, Kempire, please come with Richie to Cape Town. Is there still spots available?
There are.
Okay. Wait. Oh, that was my question. How large are the groups?
So it really depends. I can at sometimes take up to 24 people. I personally, it becomes difficult for me to manage, and then I have to bring on an assistant to actually help do that because I can't. It's just a lot. So, like for Zanzibar, I mean, I'm looking for about 14, maybe. For Cape Town, I'm looking for about 10 to 12. But I can accommodate up to 40 for Cape Town.
What? I'm not traveling with 40 people.
And again, do I want to? No, because I can't have the individual experiences with every person. I want to be able to connect with people so that they remember.
Yeah. I think if we did one together, I think we could probably do 40.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the two of us, yeah, absolutely. And then we have some assists on the side, like,
Yeah. Yes. I mean, look, first of all, thank you so much for taking time out because I know you have a trip coming up this week. You got a lot going on. Let people know where they can find you, what's coming up, and anything else.
Oh my God. Okay. So you guys can follow me obviously at DJ Richie Skye, everything, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube.
Snapchat.
throw it out there. Okay.
Yeah, buddy. Come on. Let's follow him on Snapchat.
Okay.
Let me go load up. Let me see if I still have the app on my phone.
Okay. Lord. Load it up. My books series, The Wickedest Wives, is out there on Amazon. But again, I'll be making that. I'll put that in a space where people can also buy that independently as well from that app. Otherwise, the trips and travel, teaching people how to travel smarter and earn an income while doing it as well without being a travel agent, especially if you like to travel solo. I love working with people to help them learn how to do that.
Yeah.
They can text me. That link is in the description of this video. So everything that you want to do, all the travel, the trips, if you are interested, I would love to have you. This is the life that I love. So I am thankful to you for allowing me the opportunity to just talk about this because I could talk about it all day.
Yeah. And I think it's important, especially with, it's Black History Month and we're celebrating Black content creators. But I think it's important for us to start encouraging people, especially our communities that's largely Black women, to travel. And I think you creating this safe space for them to travel with you is important because I think they won't do it. Even with us saying, do it. I think this is a nice safe space for people to be able to do it. And you're still technically traveling solo, but you got a couple of friends that you're going to probably become good friends with. Who knows? Best friends. Who knows?
Yep.
Let me just see. Critical. Thank you so much for the super chat. 2 summers ago, I took my teenage daughter to Europe for 1 month. We visited London, Italy, Switzerland, and France. We are going back to Switzerland because only place being Black was not an issue. Wow.
I'm telling you, Switzerland is not only beautiful, but I just felt so welcome there. I can't explain it to you.
Wow. I'm going to have to, that's probably one of the few European cities I haven't been to yet. So I'm going to have to add that to my list.
Definitely go to Lucerne if you can.
Okay.
It's absolutely beautiful.
In Europe, where do you want to go next?
In Europe,
that you haven't been.
I like you. I want to go to the south of France.
I did not say I didn't want to go. I'm just be careful. Just saying.
I want to go. I have not been to Amsterdam.
What?
No, I haven't.
You should go. You would like it.
That's what I hear. So I want to go there. Those are 2 places I want to go. I really want to go to Morocco. I really want to go to Egypt. I had been previously afraid to go to Egypt. I'm not going to lie. I just had let what people told me about it put a little bit of fear in my mind, but I'm seeing people do it and I want to go.
Yeah. What parts of Central America that you might want to go to?
So, working on a writing retreat in Costa Rica. I will be able to post about that soon.
Yes.
That'll be this year as well. I also want to go to Panama and I want to go to Brazil.
Yeah, I want to go to Panama too, and it's not because of Kiara and her Europe cities. I want to go. Someone said that in the chat, like Europe cities. I want to go to Panama too. Anyways, have you been to Australia?
I have not. I want to go. I definitely want to go there.
Yeah, I want to go to Australia.
But I think I need like 2 or 3 weeks there.
3.
I need a lot
alone.
I need a long time there.
Ariana says, I'm going to Amsterdam this summer. I'm so excited. I think people think I like Amsterdam for the puff pass. I don't do that, y'all. I don't do that. Go to Amsterdam and see those canals. It's beautiful. One tip about Amsterdam, I'll tell you, no matter what time of the year, sometimes it could feel like winter, spring, fall, summer in one day. So layered.
I'm not here for that though. I like that.
Yeah, I love Amsterdam.
The seasons.
I love that. Someone said, how's Brazil? I want to go to Brazil.
I want to go to Brazil as well.
That's always been on my list. There's just so many places that I want to go. I will say this about Central America. I've seen so many content creators talking about how there's a lot of us in a lot of these countries, and it's a great experience, especially for Black women in Central America. So do your research, guys. That probably be a nice place to start for some people that don't want to, maybe it's a shorter flight or whatever it may be. I do want to thank all of you for being here. I got this super. I just want to make sure we got all the super chats. Guys, don't forget to like the video. It's easy and it's free. Don't forget to follow our guest, DJ Richie Skye. All of his information, including some of the trips that he has coming up, is available in the description. Richie, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate all of your knowledge and just everything that you shared with us today. And we hope that you will come back after your Thailand trip and talk more about what's coming up.
I will definitely do that. Anytime I am here, you already know I got you.
Thank you. Guys, thank you to our King's Guards. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to our subscribers and all of you watching the replay of this. Be sure to let us know your questions and comments in the comment section. We appreciate you guys. Happy Sunday. Now you can go back to church. Church is probably over at this particular point, right? Amen. Look, aid to the men. Bye, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to kempireradio.com.